in this training, I'm going to share some common watercolor mistakes which most of the artists make. So one mistake before I start, that is to think that you are making the mistake only because you are a learner and you are thinking that professional quality artists, they don't make mistakes. So that is a mistake, right? We all make mistakes. We all make watercolor mistakes. So it is very important to learn about these mistakes and how to get out of it. Before I start showing how to overcome some mistakes, let me tell you one thing. If your goal is to become a confident watercolor artist, in that case, mistakes are helping you and not harming you. So becoming scared or feeling fearful about making mistake is something that can stop your artistic growth. Okay, let me explain you a little bit. Let's say that I ask you to drive a car and you know how to drive a car, right? So do you think you are confidently driving the car because you know how to apply the brakes? Isn't it? So that is exactly what this training is about. If you know how to overcome the mistakes, it will help you to paint confidently, right? On the other hand, if you're thinking about, oh, no, I will never commit watercolor mistakes, I will avoid making mistakes, although it is good to avoid making mistakes, but if you don't know how to overcome the mistakes, it is simply exactly like how to ride a car without knowing how to apply the brakes. You will always be feeling scared, right? Okay, so let's learn. I will share my painting screens. So first thing I will show you, this is a very common mistake. Let's say I accidentally dropped some paint. Accidentally, okay? And we will see, oh my God, I am not supposed to drop this paint here. How can I overcome this? So don't give a lot of time to thinking, but instead just lift it up, okay? So you will see that most of the time, your paint will not damage the paper, most of the time. But let's say you are dropping some paint like this, and you are trying to lift it up immediately. And then also, because the paints are staining paints, you can see the stains, right? So this is what you have to do. You have to apply clear water here. Just scrub it to see if it is going. Okay? Give it a gentle scrub, not too harsh scrub. Make sure that the water with which you're trying to lift off is clean and not dirty water. Okay? And then take a paper towel and try to lift it off. In most of the cases, after giving a gentle scrub, it will go off. But in this case, I can still see some stains. Now, if you can live with it, if let's say you are about to paint this area, then that is not going to create a problem. Let's say I want to paint this kind of thing here, this stain will not give a problem. But let's say you absolutely want white color area, okay? So if you want pure white area, you can take a small piece of Mr. Clean's magic eraser, dip it in clean water, and then gently give it a scrub. Make sure that you are very gentle and you're not doing it very harshly. And then you dab it with a paper towel and you can see that it is spotless clean. You cannot even see where I had made that mark, right? The trick is how fast you're doing it. Let's say you give it a lot of time, let's say days pass by, several days passes by, and now you're thinking, okay, I need to get rid of it. Then it will be a little more difficult, okay? So I will show that as well. So now this I had made quite long time back. I don't remember when I had made it, but several days back I had made this. And this was, this is now like quite old mark, right? Now I'm trying to remove this mark by scrubbing, but you can see that I can make it lighter, but I cannot get out of it. So let's say I just don't want this much part. I want this part, but not this much part. So what I can do is I can take a little masking tape and let's say I just mask this area. Okay. and I don't want any other areas to get disturbed. So I mask all the other areas of the painting. Okay, and I'm just exposing the part where I don't want this color. Okay, again, I will try with this. I will dip it in clean, clear water and I will squeeze it and I will try to do it, but gently. Okay, now see, it is becoming lighter. And this stain, I have to again dip this thing in water. Then again, from the clean side, I will again try to gently scrub it. Again, you can see that it has become lighter. And again, I will dip it in clean water. And again, I will give it gentle scrub. Okay, so you can see that it has become absolutely white. Then carefully you remove this. Whenever you are using Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, make sure that you are not harshly cleaning it. Okay, so be very gentle and you can see that 100% of this mark is gone, right? So the first mistake is dropping some paint or trying to, or just coming across some area where you have accidentally painted and now you want to get rid of those stains. So I recommend you to first immediately take off the color with paper towel, then rub that area, scrub it gently with clean, clear water using a brush. Okay, if the paint doesn't go away, if you still have some stains remaining, then you can just use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, dip the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser piece in a clean, clear water and scrub it gently and dab it with paper towel and repeat the process till you are satisfied, right? But please be gentle. I highly recommend Arches cold pressed watercolor paper for all purposes. If you are using any other paper and if you are using Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, just make sure that your paper can tolerate, because not all paper can tolerate Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, right? Okay, so let's talk about the second mistake. The second mistake is very common mistake is painting area with a wrong paint. Okay, wrong paint means, let's say you want to paint with pink color and you are absent-mindedly dipping your brush in a wrong paint. Maybe it is a green paint, right? Okay, so I will show you what to do in that case. So let's say this is pink color, okay? Now, instead of pink color, instead of applying, and you want to apply another layer of paint, let's say, and instead of applying pink color, now you are applying green color. And then you are thinking, oh my God, how I made this mistake. I'm not supposed to make this mistake. Okay. Again, do the same thing. Immediately try to remove it. Can you see that? It is gone. I will show you again. Okay. And see, this green is quite like dark green. See, I'm doing it and I immediately take it off. So it is gone, right? Sometimes what happens is when we do this kind of mistake, we try to criticize ourselves. We try to say that, oh my God, I'm such a fool or I'm an idiot or something like that. That never helps. You just have to do what it is required to do. And you can see that it is gone. So it is gone. Okay. You can also try it in a lighter paper. So for example, let's say this is a very light color and I'm doing like this and I'm just taking it off. In most of the cases, it goes easily, right? In some cases, if the stain is still there, you can just try to gently do like this. Gently, very gently. Okay? And then gently you try to take it off, not harsh manner. Okay? So it will go away. Right? This particular stain was already there earlier. Okay? Are you getting my point? So gently you try to remove it with water and that it will go away. I will again show you because sometimes we need a little bit of repetition to understand. So let's say you do like this and it is a mistake. You just grab a paper towel and try to remove it off. 99% it will go off. See, it is very little stain is there. Okay, so you can just apply clear water, not only to that area, but to quite some area so that nobody can feel that that particular area you are doing something. Okay. right? So it is gone, right? Okay. Now let's understand the third biggest mistake. The third biggest mistake I feel is painting with a very dark color. Okay. And quite later realizing how I painted with so dark, it is looking too dark. What to do about it? Okay. So I will show you. I'll give this example. So let's say this is an area which you have painted, and after several days has passed by, and now you are realizing that I think I would have liked to paint it lighter. It is quite looking darker, right? Okay. So now you have already painted it, plus it is quite many days has passed by. So you don't have to worry about it. You gently first wet the area where you want to make it lighter. Okay, so I have already wetted the area. Now, very gently, very gently, you do this. So what will happen is the pigments which are sitting at the top, they will get disturbed. Okay, and then take a neat and clean paper towel and remove it. Now you will see that since I have scrubbed it gently, a lot of paint is coming up, right? Okay. And this is looking much lighter. Again, it is wet now. When it will dry up, it will look much lighter. Okay. So again, I will explain you. Let's say you have painted an area and after several days, you realize, I wish it would have been lighter. I think I have painted it quite darker. Nothing to worry, just wet down the area and very gently you scrub the top area. Not like this, okay? Very gently you give it a scrub overall and then use a paper towel to lift off the paint. I hope you have understood. Now let's talk about the next mistake. The next mistake is sometimes we paint an area with more amount of paint than required. Okay, so when we paint an area with more amount of paint than required, what happens is we get hard line edge. I will show you. So let's say this is a small area, but I'm using a lot of paint. Okay, a lot of paint, right? So when this area will dry, how it will dry? The boundaries will dry faster and the center part will dry slower. Okay, it is always a tendency that the boundaries will dry faster. Okay, so when the boundaries will dry faster and the center part has still wet, the wetness will try to push the paint particles towards the drier side, that is towards the boundary side, and you will get not all the, but many of the particles will sit on the boundaries and you will get something like this. Can you see that? See, these particles are sitting on the boundary and the boundary is looking much darker. Can you see that? See here also. Okay, see, the boundaries are looking darker and the center part is looking lighter. In this case, this is not happening because we have used very little paint and with less paint, we have painted this. So there is no particles which is sitting on the boundary, but here we have painted with a lot of paint and the particles are sitting at the boundary. So now let's say you want to remove the hard line edge. You don't want to make the edge look softer, but just want to remove the hard line edge by removing the extra paint particles which are sitting at the boundary. So how to do that? Just wet this area with clear water. Okay. Now I'm wetting this area with clear water so that the rest of the area is not getting this pink color. Okay. If it is wet, it will not immediately get the pink color. And then very gently, you scrub very gently. You don't have to scrub hard because if you scrub hard, what will happen? This area will look a little bit blurry, which we don't want. We just want to remove the hard line edge. Okay. And then you use the paper towel to remove it. So you will see that the rest of the area is not disturbed. This white area is still looking pure white, only the hard line edge is gone, right? Now there is a caveat here. If you paint, let's say now, and after 1 hour, if you try to remove the hard line edge, what will happen if you give it a gentle scrub? A little bit paint from the adjacent area will also get removed, okay? So let's say I paint this area 1 hour before, and now I am trying to remove it. And when I'm giving gentle scrub, this area will become lighter than this area. So if you want to remove the hard line edge, give it at least 24 hours. Okay, after 24 hours, when this paint is like bone dry means it is absolutely thoroughly dry, then you give it a gentle scrub. Okay, another thing, what if you give it a hard scrub? So this is hard scrub. This is called as hard scrub. Okay, so I'm putting more pressure. Now you will see that the area has become slightly blurry. Can you see that? So this is what will happen if you do hard scrub. Now, I'm not saying that this is right, this is wrong. I'm saying that if you need the area to become blurry, in that case, you give hard scrub. If you don't want to make the area blurry, just want to get rid of the hard line edge, then you have to give gentle scrub. But before that, you wet down the area and then give it a gentle scrub. Okay, I will help you to understand again. So first I will just wet this area, okay, and then give a gentle scrub. That's it, okay, and then blot it off. You will see that this side there is a hard edge, this side there is a hard edge, and this side there is no hard edge. Okay, I hope that is clear. So let's talk about another painting mistake. You can also comment below some painting mistake and I can help you get answers to those mistakes. Okay, another very common mistake is painting. Okay, so let me think about some mistake. Can you suggest me some mistake? You know, it is really strange that I'm not able to think about some mistakes. What if you paint an area and the boundaries, you have crossed the boundaries, okay? So your painting has, the color has gone out of the boundary, okay? So that is a mistake. So sometimes, let's say, I wanted this area to be perfectly square. And now this area I have made my paint go out of the boundary, right? So that is a mistake. So what you can do is, if you give it a scrub like this, sometimes you are lucky if the paint is not a staining paint, then you can immediately, you can see that you can get rid of it, okay? Okay, it is quite easily it is gone. But what if it is not a staining, if it is a staining paint and you really want the area to be absolutely neat and clean? In that case, I would recommend you to again use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. So for example, I will just expose that area where the paint has gone out. Okay, and then the same process, use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to get rid of the extra paint. Okay, see, that part is gone, right? So that is one very common mistake, to paint outside the painted area. Now I will give you another example. So what if you do a line drawing and the line drawing is quite hard? Okay, now it means it is quite prominent. Now if you do painting, this line will be seen. So before you start painting, you make it lighter. Not afterwards. Before you start painting, you make it lighter and then you do the painting, so that you don't have to tolerate this line drawing being visible in the painting, right? Okay, what if you have already got a line drawing which is visible? Okay, for example, let's say this line is visible. Now what you have to do? So there are a lot of different things that you can do. So now let's imagine that the line I have not drawn now, the line is there underneath, and now that line is visible. So what I recommend is, I don't have gouache, but what I recommend is, if you have gouache, then you can use the same color gouache okay? Or you can mix some color with white gouache to make the color look like this, and then using a brush, you paint that area with the gouache like this, okay? Since it will be gouache of the same color, it will hide the line, okay? Now it is quite wet, so that's why you are able to see. But if the color is exactly the same, and if it is gouache, it will hide those pencil lines, right? So that is another mistake. I have a book. This is my book, Realistic Watercolor Unleashed. And in this book, I have written quite many mistakes and how to overcome that. Always understand that when you are not an expert, when you are learning to paint with watercolors, your mindset is very precious. Your mindset will dictate how far you can go and how fast you can go. If your mindset is, I don't want to make mistake, I'm scared of making mistake, then that will stop you from learning faster and stop you from becoming an expert watercolor artist. But on the other hand, if your mindset is, this mistake is helping me by giving me an opportunity to learn how to overcome it, I will take it as a challenge and I will find out a way to overcome the mistake. In that case, that mindset will actually push you to learn fast. It will push you to understand how can you overcome that mistake and how can you become a very confident artist. Okay, I will give you some examples. So when I was creating my painting, The Bubble Time, at that time, one of my daughters was using a pink skirt, and that was the painting which I was making, right? So in the painting, the pink skirt was there, and there were a lot of bubbles. And then while painting, a drop of paint fall onto the pink skirt, and it was like very neat and clean skirt with no pattern and all that. So it was very difficult for me to get rid of that spot because that was a staining paint. And I was thinking, what should I do in order to undo that mistake? I didn't want to make that pink color skirt more darker, okay? So I thought of making another bubble on that skirt. So, bubbles can go anywhere. So maybe that bubble is there on the skirt. So I made a bubble on that skirt, and it was not looking as if it was a mistake, right? So this kind of thing keeps happening. Whenever we paint, we do come across a lot of mistakes. And when somebody says that, you should not repeat your mistake. Yeah, logically it is okay. But practically, we do make mistakes, right? So it is absolutely not right to say that, oh, if you're making mistake, then you are an amateur artist or something like that. We all make mistakes. So just by learning how to overcome the mistake, it will be very helpful. It will make you feel very confident about yourself. I hope this session was helpful. I hope that it is encouraging, and I hope that you will learn painting with watercolors, because painting with watercolors helped me to become a very different person, and I hope it will help you too. Take care. Bye-bye.